afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 1388 Garden Way here in Woodburn. We're located at the front of the house, just to the right of the doorway. We have a 4-inch cast iron cleanout. We're going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We do have water running, and this is unfortunately a re-recording here. My video file failed, so we're going to be kind of going back over the same stuff we just did here. And I'll kind of talk as we go because I already know the issues going on. So at this point in time, I am recommending an update to the entirety of the line, especially the cast iron. You can see how the camera's black right now. You've got about 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick rust, scale, and just general buildup in the start. The cast iron in general is in very rough condition at this point. And then we'll get out here into Transite concrete in just a moment. And I wish the other video file hadn't goofed up, because we had a much better view of everything. The amount of buildup we pushed out of the line was rather extreme. Well, this is where we switch to Transite, 4-inch pipe. Now the Transite drains off properly, but you have at least 2 joints in it that are compromised. I can see groundwater staining. This is one of them right here. And there's another one closer in, around 30-something feet. And we'll hit the main here shortly. There it is there at about 54 feet. Now we're going to turn the water off, let it all drain off. Now we're going to start reeling the camera back in here. Line does terminate out on Garden Way. The line kind of veers its way over near the driveway before it turns and heads out to the street. It does not go underneath the driveway, though. So all said and done out here in the Transite, you have some very, very minor standing water, and some of that wouldn't be there were it not for the debris in the flow line. Even with the debris in there, we're talking about maybe a 1/16 of an inch of water or so, which is not significant. That's not something that's repair worthy, in my opinion, in and of itself. So if you decide to do an update on this by liner, you might retain a teeny tiny bit of standing water. It'd be completely insignificant. But anyway, that joint right there has staining. It's also somewhat separated. That one is open to the ground, at least to a certain extent. Then we have another one back in here. It's closer in the Transite. That's the same way. Right here, and you pull back, you can see the water staining that's coming in at that joint. So both of those are letting groundwater into the line. Possibly letting sewage escape. It's more likely that groundwater is coming in, though, because you have hydraulic pressure outside the line that can force stuff through those joints. Around the interior of the line, you don't have that same situation, and those joints have to be very gaping wide open for that to actually let sewage escape. But we're getting back into the cast iron now. You can see the amount of rust scaling that's going on here. And when we first dropped into the line, I pushed a dang near complete blockage out of the line. Unfortunately, my video file failed. But the overall condition of the cast iron is very, very rough, which is why I'm recommending it be updated. Again, if repairs are not done, I would at the very least recommend a thorough cleaning, descaling of the line, and a rescope. And that goes for, I can't get my camera down through the roof vent, unfortunately. I tried that originally. To see what the cast iron looks on the inside, but it ages very consistently. More than likely, it's going to look very similar to the cast iron we see here, which is very rough and pitted. And that rough nature there is very prone to debris collecting and blockages. And when you get a blockage in a very rough pipe like this, they hold on and they don't break loose hardly at all. So you get really, really affected blockages in this kind of stuff, versus a smoother pipe where the debris might break loose all on its own. You can see all the junk that's collected here. My camera has probably pushed about half of that down line. So anyhow, that's as far as we go there. Because of the condition of the cast iron and the 2 joints in the Transite, I'd recommend a full update to all cast iron in Transite within homeowner responsibility. If you're going to pick and choose stuff to repair, the cast iron's the most concerning. It's the roughest and the one that's going to lead to flow problems and blockages. The Transite right now has at least 2 bad joints. Those are not affecting flow at this point in time. But because of the age of the line and everything, I would recommend doing it in one piece. It's much cheaper and more cost-effective in that regard. If you decide to do any repairs, make sure a rescope is done to check the work. And if you do any drain cleaning, I would also recommend the same thing.